The BumbleKast is for entertainment purposes only. The host's comments and opinions, and those of their guests, are wholly their own and do not represent that of any other entity. Content is provided as is, with no guarantees of accuracy or timeliness. Welcome to the BumbleKast. I'm your host, Kyle JCRB Krause, and joining me for this very special episode of the BumbleKast is none other than Aleah Baker. Hello, welcome back.
Konnichiwa Guan, everybody. Minasumi sorry, that one's for Strawberry.
Oh, it cut you off, I think.
Really?
Kinda.
Damn.
It likes
right from
to do.
The start. Oh.
So.
It's no fun right from the start. I'm ruined.
Everything is ruined. Everything is wrong. Everything is bad. Anyway.
Okay.
Hello, Aleah. What are we here for today?
We are going to engage in a thorough retrospective of Sonic Super Special number 11.
Oh.
Rules Rule.
Oh. Blue Hedgehog stuff. Wow, this is weird.
No, there's no blue hedgehog to be found in this one.
Whoa.
He doesn't exist.
Well, his name.
This is only for the girlies.
His name's on the cover, and he's in like
Yeah,
one, he's in like one panel,
Yeah.
2 panels. He's
All panels.
yeah, he's around, but yeah, he's very much sidelined on this one, for better or worse. Usually worse. Just to clarify, before we continue, BumbleKast is still not going to be accepting Sonic questions on the main show for the Q&A. But we're going to be trying to do some Sonic-related stuff on the side regardless. So look forward to that.
I mean, even his appearance on the cover is a bit of a commentary in and of itself.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, they basically had to have him on there because of the fear that if there were too many girls on the cover, then the boys wouldn't buy it.
Comic wouldn't sell.
And I wish I was making that up.
No, you're
We're gonna
right.
celebrate the female characters, but we have to have a boy being indignant on it.
Yes.
Because otherwise it's ew, cooties.
See, and I figured it would just be the fear of Sonic not being on the cover means it wouldn't sell, because people would look at it and be like, who are all these other people?
So that is a bit of a thing. If you notice, it's not 100% consistent, but this is consideration, and you'll kind of notice if you look at a lot of covers, if there's an ensemble, Sonic will usually be towards the top somewhere.
Yep.
Closer to the title. And that is specifically so if the book is on somewhere behind other comics, he'll still be visible.
Mm-hmm. And it's also like how Sonic would appear on a lot of Sonic Universe issues, despite the fact he was in almost very few of them.
Yeah.
Because, Sonic sells.
Yeah. And that is a very important mantra to remember around a certain long stretch of this comic's lifespan.
Yes.
Sonic sells. Sonic was very, very successful for a lot of the 90s.
That's weird.
There's a reason that these books kept going on even when a lot of games weren't coming out.
Who bought and read these books in the 90s? Wait, don't answer that.
But I guess we're getting a little off topic.
We are getting a little sidetracked.
Slightly.
Yes.
So, but yes, this is basically one of the super specials, which I've often been kind of frustrated with in general because for all the chances you had to, expand continuity and maybe have more character development or heighten continuity or anything.
Yeah.
They were usually just kind of wasted on best parodies that weren't really worth the time or effort or paper they were printed on. Or
yeah. They were one-offs, sometimes crossovers with properties that didn't make much sense to cross over Sonic with, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And, coming from perspective of working on the stuff later, it's a bit frustrating in the sense of how much page limitations we had to work with to cram a whole lot of world building. And then it's just like, no, actually, what if we did a parody of Ally McBeal?
That wouldn't get That wouldn't age fast.
Well, gotta go fast.
Well, true. Well, hold on. Before we start, there's a possibility that somebody's listening to this and doesn't know who you are. So why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Ability?
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
It's ability.
Huh?
You say it like it's not a guaranteed.
What? Possibility that some people may not know who you are? I don't know.
It's endless possibilities.
Oh, good point.
Okay, if it really matters.
Does. Tell us just a little bit.
Okay, I'm Aleah Baker, and I worked on the Archie Sonic comics for 5-ish years, give or take. Depends on how you look at a whole bunch of things and how much work I kind of did behind the scenes. Also, the time I spent kind of trying to cram my foot in the door between editorial changes.
Yes.
But, yeah, I did writing and coloring and lettering and some character design and a whole lot of off panels.
Yep.
All this in my grand effort to get to color a cover, which I did once for Hershey Sonic and once for IDW.
Hey.
Wanted to do.
It's still awesome, and I'm still glad you got to do it.
That's what I was trying to do in the first place, and I ended up doing almost everything but.
Oh, yeah.
Except for inking, I think, right? I think I even have an editor credit somewhere.
Do you? Okay.
I might. I'm not sure. Or maybe it's just a special thanks. I'm not sure.
I think, yeah, your credits are kind of weird sometimes.
Some of them don't exist.
I know you did a lot of uncredited work, yes. Yes. It happens.
I know I did some work that, the credits kind of went missing on some. Oh, we've talked about that, haven't we?
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, but we're kind of, again, getting slightly off topic here.
Yes. So let's go back to this. The Sonic Super Special, Girls Rule.
Super Special, Girls Rule, which was ostensibly there to celebrate female characters.
Yes.
For the sake of the female reader base, which was at least considerable.
Yeah, for Sonic has a considerable female fandom, so makes sense.
And, since that's not necessarily a bad idea, it's a little 90s-esque in theming, I guess you could say.
Well, this was the 90s.
Kind of on the cusp of 2000s into,
I
guess Sonic kind of stemmed out,
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's the kind of, we have to, make a big deal out of it instead of just, I don't know, writing the characters well, not using them as props.
What do you mean?
Little things like, what do I mean? Well,
I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah. We have 5 stories here. Focusing on the very prominent female characters in the series, like Princess Sally, Bunnie Rabbit, Julie Sue,
you sure?
Lupe, and Hershey the cat.
Well,
now, to be fair, Rouge and Blaze, or Wave or Marine, or a lot of, weren't really things at this point.
Correct.
I said Amy Rose did in fact exist.
Yes, she does in fact exist. And it did exist at this time. This came out in 1999.
Yeah.
Yes.
And in terms of the comics, she, Sonic Adventure came out late 1998.
Yeah, about 20 days before this comic came out in the US at least.
And she didn't get her new look until issue 79, which I think was early 2000s or so. So the timing is a bit iffy. But, okay, the way Amy's character had been handled throughout the early, we'll say, half of Archie Sonic, be kind of generous about it, is a bit funny because, on the one hand, she was, for a while, this might sound very weird, I swear this is true, for a while she was not actually very prominently known.
Amy, you mean? Yeah.
In the Western fandom.
Well, yeah.
She was almost seen as kind of wow, weird, obscure Japanese content, almost along the lines of also there's this weird bomb throwing guy named Bean.
Yeah.
And you've never heard of him because they won't bring the games over here and it's super rare and blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
This is, the era when the Sonic CD manual said Princess Sally instead of Amy Rose. And it's kind of funny because I don't there are people who seem to think this was like some kind of like malicious attempt at like ignoring Amy's existence at the time.
No.
And yeah, going back, I don't think some people really realize how sort of touch and go the video game market was seen in the 90s.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like early on, a lot of people were saying, oh, this is flash in the pan, this isn't going to last. And then going into the 90s, it's like, oh, this is still really being successful. It's not a big deal. It's not going to matter. So in terms of like things like localizing and canon stories and things, they didn't give a damn.
No, they didn't care.
They didn't care. You would get games where they would sometimes just make up something on the fly for the manual because they're like, this isn't going to matter in 3 months.
Pretty much.
So they probably just figured at this point, oh, for all they knew, this wasn't even a character who showed up in the game. This was just a backstory blurb so you could run to the right real fast.
Yeah, the only weirdos who knew of Amy Rose were the people who either had a Sega CD or were obsessed with Sonic and or possibly had the PC version of Sonic CD.
I had it.
Yep, me too. That's mostly how I played it. Although the first time I played it was on an actual Sega CD, but then after that it was a PC version. So, yes.
I knew a couple people who said that I might have had a record time for one of the Sonic CD special stages, but that was like a million years ago and I could actually play games on a keyboard and
yeah,
that is not going to happen anytime now.
Don't.
But yeah, you know, like they probably like there's a legit chance that they didn't even know that Amy was a character who appeared in the game.
Well, she was in the Sonic. She was introduced in the Sonic CD special. Presumably, they had to know Sonic CD.
No. I meant in terms of like the game, the people writing the blurb for the manual back then.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant.
They might have just thought this was like. Yeah, they might have just thought this was like flavor text to explain why Sonic is running around this time. They don't care.
Okay,
you know.
I thought you meant the people who made this comic.
No.
Okay.
So, yeah, and I mean, they had Patrick Spaziante, who was basically their one actual, gamer liaison.
Yes.
At the time. He actually did a lot of work for, I think it was Electronic Gaming Monthly magazine?
Was that right? I can't remember if it was EGM or...
I'm pretty sure it was EGM.
Something?
Then he used to do, like, cover art.
Yeah, he did cover art for...
Stuff.
Yeah, there was one magazine he definitely did cover art for, but yeah.
And like, there were the magazines that were like, run by the, publishers and corporations, and then ones kind of run more by the nerdy fans who imported Japanese games.
Yeah, right.
So the people who were a little more in touch with the actual content of this kind of stuff, which is why, Spaz's covers would often have all these weird, obscure Japanese characters crammed in them.
Yes.
People are going, oh my god,
or surprising...
who is this obscure Sonic character that keeps showing up? No, actually, that's completely different Sega platformer.
Surprising references.
Sorry, guys.
Surprising references to other things. Yes.
Long story short, though, is that even though she's basically a core character nowadays, and it's kind of hard to think, oh, who's a female Sonic character who would be rather prominent to show in a female promoting story, Amy was kind of considered a bit obscure at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't help that certain writers, I guess, just didn't really care to focus on her much.
Mm-hmm.
Even though when she was around, and they could have taken some time to focus on her or expand on her if they wanted, because at the time they were just doing whatever they wanted anyway.
Right.
If Knuckles can be Kryptonian Jesus, then...
And also Moses.
I mean, Moses Jesus.
Yes. All of the above.
Mm-hmm. Even then, though, it is kind of funny to think that Hershey got billing
over Amy. Yeah.
Over Amy.
See, and I kind of liked Hershey, at least at the time, sorta, but she had not much going on for her, so...
She didn't have much going on for her, ever.
No, that's what I said. She never had much going on for her. That's what I meant.
Well, it's not the first story, but we can start with Hershey's story, because it doesn't really touch on anything.
We can go a little out of order. Yeah, it doesn't... None of these stories really touch on a whole heck of a lot.
More lasting consequences than others, but...
Yeah.
So, I guess it's worth pointing out, though, also, every single story in this special to celebrate, I guess, female excellence is written by Ken Penders.
Uh-huh.
Because, there were no female writers.
No, of course not. In comics?
I know.
Crazy.
Weird. Gross. And Hershey, I guess, was literally kind of a pet character.
Uh-huh.
For Ken, as in she's named after a family cat.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah, if it was like his cat or his kid's cat, someone's cat, I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, she was introduced in Endgame.
Yes.
Which was, kind of written as a potential cutoff point for the series if it wasn't going to last beyond that point. They didn't know if it was going to or not. And she was basically a plot device. I'm sorry. That's the best way to say it. She didn't exist before Endgame.
No.
She wasn't introduced in any capacity before her role necessitated it. And her role was basically that of Drago's doormat girlfriend who did whatever he told her to do, no matter how ridiculous and implausible and self-destructive and does not make any sense unless she literally no thought until what he's ordering her to do. Just does it.
Yeah.
And this basically culminates with her being the one to almost kill Sally Acorn.
Right.
By accident.
Mm-hmm.
Even though she was never intending to kill anyone. So,
okay.
I guess all along she was just, supposed to accidentally maim.
She was just cutting that rope for fun.
Yeah.
I guess.
She thought she was just going to mildly hurt Robotnik's second in command.
Uh-huh.
On orders from her boyfriend for something.
For some reason.
And then she found out she'd been tricked by her jerk-ass boyfriend.
Yes.
And beat him up a bit and threw rocks at his head, which, fair.
Yeah.
And I guess everyone just forgave her because she didn't mean it. The killing Sally part, not the throwing rocks at Drago's head part.
Yeah. I mean, I forgive her for that one.
I mean, everyone should. She should have thrown more rock. Anyway. So in the aftermath of Endgame, when they kind of just had everyone doing like reconstruction work in Mobotropolis, she was just kind of out there doing some kind of organization stuff, I guess. The computer didn't really, even, basically Jeffrey shows up and kind of offhand belittles what she's doing.
Right, yeah.
And literally just kind of hands her something vague. I don't know, like a flash driver. It doesn't even show what it is.
Can't even tell, yeah.
Yeah, and just says, show up at the armory later. Doesn't ask her if she's interested in a job or tells her what this is or, gives her any kind of insight or options or
any indication of what's going on. Yeah, she didn't.
Any indication. It's
just nothing, Take this
vague thing and show up here later.
Uh-huh. Well, I had to play up the mystery.
Join my secret spy team, by the way.
Yes.
Which is what ends up happening. And then while she's part of the secret spy team, which he wants her to be part of, I guess he really admired the way that she showed up out of nowhere to assassinate Sally. I don't know.
I have no idea.
No one knows where she got these skills from to begin with, but I guess she just had it in her all this time.
She just is.
She just is.
Yeah, pretty much.
She just shows up and in training it's basically like, what does she do? I think she gets thrown into a tank of water and has to be rescued by the others as part of the team building.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
And
wow,
that's a lot of I'm a cat. I don't like water. And then I think they do there's another little backstory of them doing some other secret agent training mission crap where she's basically found a cart with wheels. You men just don't pay attention to anything. But, now she's a full-fledged secret agent,
Of course.
She's gone solid snake.
Uh-huh.
Here.
She's got her own logo and everything.
Her own logo. Hershey Solo. From Hershey Chocolate.
Yep. She's got her own logo. There it is.
Yeah. So, basically, this is her story of her crawling into ducks to talk to things and spy on Eggman.
Yes.
And use really contrived code words and things. And I don't know, it's kind of...
There's like, she's eavesdropping and spying on Eggman, but there's nothing going on. Like, Eggman's not doing anything.
Not really. He basically...
Like, what is she spying? What is she learning from this? Nothing.
It basically kind of makes some offhand, mentions that are kind of here's a wink, wink, nod, nod. So if you're reading, the other issues and the mainline stuff or whatever,
right,
then, what this refers to. But so what?
Yeah.
Wow, Eggman is conquering stuff in other places and people are fighting back. That's a big shock.
Yeah. And it goes nowhere, like everything does at this time.
The thing that bugs me is that she basically is like, she's like, okay, she needs to get to the terminal. So she, calls in a distraction from Jeffrey. So he sets off an explosion somewhere.
Yes. It's a huge explosion, by the way.
Yeah. Just casual, Yeah, whatever. Boom. Send in, the bomber planes or whatever. And Eggman's like, yeah, whatever. And she's like, that sure did the trick. Not.
Yeah.
So, this is still in the 90s.
Of course. So
that didn't work. So then she activates, she has to tell you, with the press of a button, the hand mine is set and on its way. So it's a hand mine, I guess.
Why couldn't you just call it a grenade?
No, this is Mobius. They're very different. Just
okay,
like how they don't drink coffee, they drink Chono.
Oh, okay, that's right. Everything's got to have its own name. Its own name, except when it doesn't.
Except mines don't really work that way compared to grenades. But yeah, whatever.
Yeah, no, I know.
She throws it down the hallway, and there's no explosion.
Not immediately, no.
Well, so it just goes pick, 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 and it's implied Eggman hears something, so he does walk off because that warrants his personal attention.
Okay, yeah.
And she, listen to the database, click, click, you're in, kind of thing.
Yeah, she gets into the computer.
And this is where she learns that their teammate, Valdez, as a certain blog says, is totally not SBO with a hat. Which is fine, because he doesn't even have the hat at this point.
True.
She finds that he was roboticized.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, because here she's like, even learning that he had died would be certainly preferable, finding that he was roboticized.
Rude.
Which is a bit of a twist on the way the narrative has played roboticization so far.
Yeah. It's like
because
a fate worse than death? Not usually. They can. Yeah. They could reverse it, I believe, at this time.
The thing that's reversible.
Yeah.
And has been reversible repeatedly.
Yes.
That has already happened to several characters.
Yes.
Over and over and over.
Uh-huh.
No. He might as well be dead.
Uh-huh.
And keep that in mind for another story.
Yes.
But anyway, yes. Just screw Valdez. Might as well be dead.
Yep. Forget him.
So she goes to report and that her mission is accomplished because she confirmed that they definitely lost Valdez.
All right.
Which, I mean, you could kind of figure they already knew this.
Yeah. If she was hacking into Eggman's computers, why didn't she learn any other information? Anything useful? Yes.
And no, we definitely lost him.
He's gone.
Except, again, all the times that they've made so much effort to recover people who've been roboticized.
Yes, they've reversed it multiple times.
Yeah. Oh my God, we have to save Uncle Chuck.
Yeah.
We have to restore King Acorn from everything.
Right.
Like Sonic's been roboticized, Knuckles has been roboticized, Sally has done it at least once or twice by this point.
Yes.
Tons of people. It's some people have gone through a revolving door of it. But anyway, but it's okay. It says she left a message that payback would be coming.
Uh-huh.
So she set yet another bomb, which I presumably went off under Robotnik's desk.
In his
at the
face,
end?
supposedly? It's very unclear. Doesn't show anything.
So he went. So I just find something about the setup of the explosions kind of funny.
Uh-huh.
As distractions and things. This is their, in-depth sci-fi work written by someone who is a great fan of the James Bond series.
Uh-huh. And the best they could do is come up with explosives, except for the one, the hand mine that didn't explode, apparently.
The number of, like, James Bond-esque tropes that don't make any sense and don't actually accomplish anything.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, okay, so yeah, city blows up.
Uh-huh.
Hand mine goes down, which I guess the sound of it being thrown catches Robotnik's attention, but it apparently doesn't blow up because he says there was no sign of trouble anywhere.
Yeah.
But then when he comes back, there's a bomb hidden under his table or desk or whatever, which is phrased as
payback.
Or she's saying, yeah, no, payback that would be coming later.
Oh.
So it's not even the payback.
Oh.
So what is this one then? Or maybe she threw the hand mine, it rolled down the hallway, came back, and she attached it under the desk, all off screen because these stories are very short.
Yes, this is only 6 pages.
It's a very odd construction.
Yes.
It's also kind of funny that basically, and this is probably a very unintentional parallel, but the whole story is, Jeffrey playing spotter off the top of a roof while she goes rappelling down the side. This is basically what happened in Endgame.
Yeah.
Only he's not wearing a convenient Sonic mask that makes everyone look like Snively.
Yes, that's how that works.
Anyway, so
yeah,
that's Hershey's story, which was apparently about stressing her independence.
Oh, except
this is
she's still reliant on Jeffrey. Don't you feel empowered, Lee?
No.
Oh, why not?
Job.
I don't think your headset did not like you yelling that. It did not pick that. It did not pick that up at all. It picked up the last word of that sentence, whatever it was. Something about a job.
I said she didn't even choose this job.
True.
Like what is her drive for any of this? Did she want to do this to make up for what she did during Endgame? Did she want to have more independence and strength and not just go along with what men were telling her to do, aka Drago? We don't know.
No,
we don't know.
It never comes up. It probably could have been worked in here. You wouldn't need that much more text to probably outline that.
No, give her some motivation.
Yeah.
Or drive or personality. Because I'm pretty sure every third time she shows up, her personality has shifted. Something different.
That's, yeah. If she even has a personality at all, you could argue.
And, I mean, what are the bigger points of what her character ends up doing is later she, has a bit of a romance with Jeffrey and gets married to him.
Mm-hmm. Which
her creator never intended for her to have to begin with. So, and that's not even, again, a part of her character. That's basically because it disrupts the supposed 007-esque portrayal of Jeffrey. He's not supposed to be tied down.
Oh, of course not.
So he can continue to aggressively flirt with his boss's 15-year-old daughter. More on that later.
Yeah. No, thank you.
So anyway, Girls Rule. One of the stories spent on Hershey, who confirms that a teammate is dead apparently because I don't know. Maybe now their paychecks will be redistributed differently.
Yes. He succumbed to a very reversible process, and could have. And
they could easily him if they wanted to bother.
Yes, they gave up.
Yep.
Before even trying.
So it's okay because she left a bomb to indicate that payback would be coming later. Also, presumably this bomb going off under the desk had no lasting impact on anything either. Nor did the entire building Jeffrey blew up or whatever else is going on.
Nothing. There's nothing going on.
But this is the story designed to push the character's independence and
Okay.
Let us know if you think it succeeded in that.
I guess payback is a dish best served later.
Reheat it in the microwave at some point.
Uh-huh.
We're the bee and the berry. I'm the bee.
Strawbz. No, I'm the bee.
Oh, my bad. We can cut that, right?
No, we can cut that.
Okay. We're the bee and the berry.
I'm the bee.
And I'm Strawberry.
And The Bee and the Berry is an irregularly scheduled podcast where we talk all things Sonic, writing fan fiction, and fan creation.
We snoop around at fan events, review the latest and hottest Sonic content, and host interviews with our fellow Sonic fan creators.
You know, just girly things.
And hey, if you want, you can totally send us any discussion topics or questions you'd like us to talk about, and we might answer them.
Or we might not.
But hey, you never know. You can find us on Twitter, Blue Sky, Tumblr, and YouTube at The Bee the Berry.
Okay, we're running out of time here. Gotta grow fast.
Ciao!
Let's see. I don't care about doing things in order, so...
That's okay. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about. I'm just here for the ride.
Poor you. We move on to Bunnie's story.
Oh, okay.
Is that a problem?
No. It's not.
So Bunnie's story is called Upgrade.
Uh-huh.
Now, in terms of the original Freedom Fighters, Bunnie's probably one of my favorite characters, if I can count that in terms of, I guess, the base concept for the character, and not like Nicole, and quarter of that is what I myself did, so that's not really fair.
Right. Yeah. See? That's why we get along. We both like Bunnie.
Bunnie's cool. I mean,
She is.
she's a cyborg.
Yes.
She punches crap. She's like, even going back a bit, she's arguably still pretty feminine.
Right.
And allowed to still be kind of, the strong character, the muscle of the group.
Right.
Very pragmatic without having to flip all the way to, oh, you're cold, and you're cold because of reasons, because of trauma, because of blah, blah, blah. And that is in direct context to your femininity and stuff. She's just smart, chill.
Yeah.
So
She's
Bunnie's
awesome.
cool. So we open the story with her being unconscious on a table.
Of course. As one does.
This story, again, all the stories are written by Ken Penders. This one was illustrated by James Fry, who is often just known as Fry.
Yeah.
Caps. He was an artist, just people who don't know at the time, was hired when there was a bit of a anime push at the time by the editor, which may be more evident in some of his art compared to other times, but especially when he's like going into like full like furry Tenchi Muyo cameos and such. But
right, the point where Sonic's eyes are huge and weird looking.
Huge, and I think he can do good expressive art.
Yeah,
but I mean, it can be hard to judge stuff like this too, because sometimes you don't know what time limits are going for. You don't know what happens when inkers and colorists go through things. There's so much to through, basically. But anyway, in part, I also bring them up because I seem to remember he had commented on there being a push around this time for Bunnie to be redesigned. So I don't know if that the sole drive for this story existing. But basically, most people probably know this at this point. But anyway, Bunnie's entire thing was that she was way roboticized, and that left her obviously a cyborg, more or less. And then, even though the story was sometimes a bit inconsistent with these details, the idea was that Roeder had graded her cybernetics over time. And the general concept was kind of like, once you started tweaking roboticized parts, you couldn't just de-roboticize it afterwards.
Right.
Because it's not the same base anymore. You can't hit the undo button on that.
It's the ship of Theseus question. Is it still the same Bunnie if you replace all the components?
All the parts, and then try to hit the undo button.
Yes. Yeah.
And that does come plot relevant much later, but it's a little bit relevant here.
Yes.
Because the idea of the story is that, Bunnie ends up in the hospital because one day she just collapses, and they find through vague medical nonsense and pseudoscience that her body and robotic parts are no longer compatible. And the doctor basically gives her the options of, I think, like, kind of stick with it and kind of see what happens, which is probably, degrading further. Trying de-robotization, which, again, with all the modifications and stuff, is super risky and probably not worth it.
What's funny is they bring up de-roboticization existing here. So, there are other events in this book that could be,
Why?
Yeah.
It's not a fate worse than death?
No, and apparently not.
Trying to undo on basic circumstances? No, shut up. Don't talk about that. Valdez doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
Valdez doesn't matter.
I guess that's really the thing. Is that
he doesn't matter so much that he was still in the crowd shots after he was captured and quote unquote killed.
Oh no. I don't remember that, but that's that sounds like what would happen.
He shows up after he's supposed to have been long gone, but anyway.
Anyway, we're not talking about that anymore. We're here now.
And then Bunnie's most important option is, or they can, basically replace the limbs, take off the current ones, and grade her. Hence the title of the story.
Correct.
So there's just some, almost nice quiet moments in the story where she struggles with this decision for a little bit because, medical decisions like this are.
Yeah. I'd say that this might be the better story of this book. It's not terrible, but
I generally remember this story as being the best received.
Yeah.
Overall.
That makes sense.
And, there's a bit of a sweet moment where, Antoine comes in to check her and Bunnie basically says, could you still love me if I was like this forever, more or less, which, so is she still, I guess, holding on to the idea that she might be de-roboticized at some point.
Right.
And he's just like, I don't care. You're awesome.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because, he's right. And I kind of hate to do this, but what I find really frustrating, because this is a nice scene. It's a sweet scene between them.
Yes, it is.
So what kind of bugs me with this is that way down the line, as you know, Ian eventually had Antoine and Bunnie get married.
Mm-hmm.
And Ken Penders had come in to say that, well, he'd also planned to have Antoine and Bunnie get married eventually. So clearly this was a stolen plot point because a extremely long-running couple getting married is a totally original idea.
Of course. There certainly was no build-up leading up to it. It just happened.
No, just happened.
Uh-huh.
The thing is, with his outline as he and his friend / secret co-writer, Bob R., gave it, his version was going to basically have a 25-issue gap between the engagement and their wedding.
Okay.
Which, some people do wait a while, but whatever. It was basically going to go from, I think, 175 to 200 in his mind.
200, yeah.
The reason, though, that it was going to take so long was that Antoine was going to propose, and it wasn't going to be that, they got engaged and then spent X amount of time planning the wedding. It was going to be that Bunnie didn't give him a proper answer for a long time because she was insecure if she, about her appearance, her body, and if she was worthy of his love and all that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Which kind of ignores and negates this whole story.
Yeah, that flies completely in the face of this whole scene.
Right.
So, that didn't happen. He didn't write that story. He wasn't working for Archie at that point anymore. But that was planned, supposedly, is a bit frustrating because, I don't know. Here's this lovely scene. Antoine comes in and settles her insecurities and reassures her that he loves her and all this, but it's not going to stick.
Of course.
Okay.
Oy.
Anyway, whatever. The last page is basically showing the new upgrade and Bunnie showing off her much more slimmed down and, does it count as form-fitting?
Sure.
her non-Mega Man limbs.
Yeah. Her more feminine robotics.
Yeah.
Yes. But what's really funny to me is it looks like she's slapping the crap out of Nate Morgan.
Well, maybe she should.
She probably should have, yes.
This is also that kind of point where it's like, okay, well, who's the tech guy in town? I guess it can't be Uncle Chuck at this point.
I guess not.
Who's Rotor?
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him.
No.
Nate Morgan eventually kind of just is responsible for everything, including stuff that contradicts itself.
Yeah.
But that's a whole other...
That's a whole different thing. That's something else.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of other things.
I guess apparently Rotor was with his family at the time. I don't know.
Dragging out that plot point for the...
Not sure where the timeline fits in that, but all right.
Whatever. And it does, again, it kind of bugged me because it just, it feels, again, kind of stereotypical 90s. She goes from making this very emotional decision and having this sweet moment with Antoine and stuff, and then it's just, better than ever, look at my and talk to you. You go, girl!
Wait, what? Okay. What? Better than ever, what? You'd go back to that.
We don't need to.
Oh, fine.
Just the posing and stuff, It's, I don't know. It feels a little shallow in a way.
Yeah.
And like I said, so this was generally, seemed to be the most well-received story out of all of them.
Yeah.
I guess primarily because of the Antoine and Bunnie moment.
Yeah, it's a good moment. But,
and I think they're, Sonic fans and change, right? Oh, God, green eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So people, didn't mind Bunnie's redesign. Other people did mind it, blah, blah. I think a lot of people aren't as fond of the particular method of the reveal. Again, the kind of slight tonal whiplash at the end.
Right, yeah.
I feel it doesn't really feel like triumphant. It just kind of feels like cheap a little.
Mm-hmm. I get it.
Shallow.
I get it.
I don't know. One thing I did find a little funny is that there were some fans who had brought up that way back there was there were some previous depictions, sort of flash forwards of the future of Mobius and the characters and on, where Bunnie was shown fully de-roboticized. And most of those were written, again, by Ken Penders.
Right.
And I almost said as we know, but, some people may not know this. He had been generally rather adamant that this was all kind of a one timeline thing. The future was going to be the future.
Right.
Everything was canon, even though some parts pretty much blatantly contradicted themselves.
It was all set in stone. This is what the future will be like.
Yeah, not even just, 25 years later stuff, but also the in-your-face early stuff and all this. So, yeah, people were like, well, if she got her limbs replaced and this is supposed to be a matter of she won't be able to go back, does that work with this? And basically told people, well, how do you know that's not like a clone or her sister from another dimension or something?
Oh, some more comic book crap.
Yeah, so there, I guess.
Uh-huh.
You guys are too limited in your thinking.
You're not playing 5D chess.
Yeah, I don't know if that really covers it.
Yeah.
But he never had Antoine and Bunnie show up in his future setting anyway.
Yeah.
What little I had heard of Bunnie's intended show up, I don't think even made any mention of what her state was, so who knows?
Oy. Oy, oy, oy.
Bunnie's story, basically, it's an excuse to change up her design.
Pretty much.
It's got some nice moments in there, at least.
Yes. What's next?
I'm going to move on to Lupe's story.
Oh, boy.
Well, I feel like everything is going to be increasingly a matter of, oh, boy.
This one annoys me. This one really, really gets my goat.
Not your wolf.
Not my wolf, no. My goat. Oy. Yeah, this one.
Okay.
Let's talk about it.
Okay. Again, written by Ken Penders, art by Colleen Doran, who did a few stories throughout the Sonic comics. I think she did some backups in the Knuckles stories, including the actually when Valdez, who is not quite dead yet, but has some very questionable everything in his roboticized state, shows up
Yep.
to confront SBO, I guess. Yeah, she illustrated that one. I could be wrong. I feel like she might have done some illustrations for Wonder Woman.
I don't know. But
Anyway.
her art's not bad in this.
I think this is comparatively a lot better than what she did with SBO, but
Well, yeah.
again, I don't know if time was a factor or who knows.
Right.
Anyway, hey, female artist.
Wow.
Imagine that.
Crazy.
Working on Sonic. So I do want to cover a bit about who Lupe is, because at this point she is kind of obscure and her involvement with the comic is a bit odd at this point, I guess.
Yeah.
So basically, Lupe was an original character from the SatAM show.
Correct, yes.
Basically like auxiliary freedom fighter type role.
Yeah, kind of a random character introduced toward the end of the series, I think.
Well, I think she was she not in season 1 and then kind of had a couple cameos later on?
I think.
Or am I making...
Or maybe it was that way around. I forget exactly, but...
I forget.
I think she was just in season 2, yeah.
Oh, if I have that wrong, I apologize. It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been some decades.
She's a little like Kat from SatAM, although she's in more episodes than he was.
Well, she's also slightly more interesting.
Correct. She is. I like Lupe, which is why this story annoys me.
We'll get to why it annoys everybody.
Yes.
Eventually.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Lupe at least doesn't look like, a D-tier cereal mascot like some of the SatAM extras.
Yes. Yeah, she was in her own episode, and then she was in the finale, so she was only in 2 episodes of it.
Oh, really? I thought a bit more than that, like 3. Anyway.
For some reason I thought so too, but apparently not.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, she and her wolf, as they call it, just the wolf pack here, were sort of introduced again in part of the build-up towards Endgame. So I think it was around issue 46?
Probably would have been before 47, because 47 was the first part of Endgame.
Okay, so 46.
So it would have been 46.
Pretty much right before.
Okay, yeah.
In all honesty, they were kind of brought in to sort of self-introduce Drago, the I've never seen you around here before, oh my god, the shocking traitor of the story, who was not part of the group in the show. Spot the canon foreigner.
Right.
But when Lupe's group first showed up, when it was basically Lupe and Drago and a bunch of extras who were more or less based on the character sheets used as the filler wolves from the cartoon, they didn't really have any names or identities or anything. They just kind of were used in the background of the game as, combatants with like flamethrowers and grenade launchers and stuff. Don't ask where they got those from, but anyway.
Don't worry about it.
Exactly. Freedom fighters never use guns. Never have, never will. But anyway.
Nope.
And then, Drago is the traitor and blah, blah, blah and all this. And that all happened. And at the end of Endgame, the idea was introduced that Lupe and her group were going to return to their home in the Great Canyon. So it's kind of like presented as like maybe their episode or an adaptation of the episode from the show happened in the past, but it's not actually shown. It's just, the freedom fighters kind of know these guys. They showed up and helped for Endgame. Robotnik's presumed dead after Endgame, so they're heading home.
Right.
Small side note, there is one later adaptation of the episode, but we don't talk about that.
Okay. We'll
many hands.
Oh no.
Many hands make some kind of work.
Oh boy.
So anyway, at this point though, when Lupe is about to head off, the background characters, like I said, they were just kind of using the character sheets from the cartoon.
Right.
Were sort of set, put an asterisk on this for a moment, and given names. So we had this big one was, Canis, and these two who are almost interchangeable, except for their colors, are Reynard. Yes, one's named Reynard, despite being a wolf, and Diablo. And it becomes a bit of a problem because the colorists will constantly mix Diablo and Reynard up. And I kind of think that Canis was kind of merged from two different designs.
Okay.
I know, because at one point when Ian had to compile, that was his job originally, he was like compiling a lot of background info. It's like there's this wolf design that doesn't seem to have really been used except for when he was sometimes drawn into the background. So we were just kind of offhand calling him Ralph.
Good old Ralph.
Yeah. But had those wolves, and then it was introduced these two ones named Lita and Lyco, who are twins, and they're basically told apart by the color of their bodysuits being blue and green, which is also a bit of a problem because Diablo and Reynard, who are also constantly confused with each other, also each wear blue and green, but whatever. So Lupe presents this story as being that, they're all going to leave and head back to their home in the Great Canyon, wherever that is. And she talks about how it's very vaguely presented. Like they just say the Great Canyon, and they talk about like how, Robotropolis, whatever you want to call it, was never home to their kind, even though it's supposed to be a kind of megapolis of like everybody.
Right, yeah.
Coming together. But, Penders seems to really like his isolationism. Around groups, you see a lot of, our people aren't open to outsiders. We don't like mingling with them. We keep to ourselves. Like the echidnas do it, the chameleons do it, and here the wolves are doing it, the cats do it. It's okay, whatever.
Yeah, it's all this tribalism sort of deal, and it's like assuming that an entire race of people is all the same.
Yeah,
it's
pretty
like,
much.
No.
And they all always keep. Yeah, they all have the same trait of keep to ourselves, which is a little uncomfortable, but okay. So basically, they're telling Sally, we don't want to stick with the homeland. We helped you guys free. We're going home. The homeland or whatever, any ideas of it are very vague. It's not shown to have any kind of connection to what was in the cartoon or anything. It's just kind of their homeland. It's a canyon, maybe.
Sure.
And what else is weird is that Lupe says that she left a husband and her family behind during the Great War, which I assume has to be a mistake.
That's a long time ago. Hold on.
Yeah. And the thing is, most of what was considered the quote-unquote serious canon when it started being introduced in the comic, I should say, by the terms of the series.
Yeah.
Especially concerning the wars and all this kind of thing, was established by Ken Penders. This was his stuff, his timeline. But the Great War would make her kids at least 15, like Sonic and Sally's age, if not older.
Yeah, because that ended 10 years before the comic started, right?
Somewhere at least, yeah.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Yeah.
So
that ended at that point.
So how old?
It started at least 5 years before that point.
Yeah, right. So how old is Lupe?
How old is Lupe? Question mark. How old are her kids?
Also question mark.
They're very much not 15.
No.
But whatever. So, they have to head out and find their home and their people. They make some vague stuff about how, these two new wolves, Lita and Lyco, found them. So they're sure the rest of their people are out there somewhere. So it's out there at your original home, out there scattered. Are you heading home or not? It's like I said, a lot of this kind of presented very vaguely. Do Lita and Lyco not know where they came from? Were they just on their own all this time? Did they grow up isolated? They don't, apparently they can't offer anything. They're women. They don't have opinions.
I guess.
They don't have agency.
Well, no, not in this comic. It's kind of rare.
Yeah.
At this time, at least.
So basically, everyone had headed out from Mobotropolis, whatever it is at this point, and spend a lot of times wandering around and kind of getting lost and off track because of the Days of Fury concept Ken introduced, which was it kind of seemed to alternate between supposed to be planet reset, biblical disaster level weather, but also just kind of storms.
Just storms, huh?
they just kind of did what the plot required them to do sometimes.
Yeah.
Basically, they're trying to head back to a fixed location,
Right.
They're home, and they're immediately lost. There are rivers they don't recognize. They pass through cities they don't know. They have no idea where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
They pass through a overlander, which basically human city, which, looks like a bombed out ruin for some reason, and find 2 overlander kids who are also twins. So now this group has 2 sets of twins with it.
That's not confusing at all.
No. Lupe takes them on because I guess it's a bit of a, human kids getting adopted by a wolf parallel story.
Mm-hmm.
And
also, they have absolutely 0 dialogue in this story.
Well, they don't matter much either.
Apparently.
I think they're literally there for the sake of being, human kids adopted by wolf.
Yeah.
Thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because even the thing is, their inclusion in the other stories doesn't make a whole lot of sense. They're in the ruins of a city. They're 2, let's say, 10-year-old max kids.
Right.
But the Overlanders were supposed to have left Mobius.
Yeah, they're
at this point.
So they abandon these.
They abandoned these 2 kids. Maybe if again, if they're that old, but I don't know if they grew up in this ruins by themselves the whole time, or if they came from. I mean, part of this problem is also because Ken Penders and Carl Ballers seem to have conflicting ideas on what happened with the Overlanders post-war. So,
there wouldn't be
it could just be a massive gaping plot hole.
What? No.
But again, it's another case of the characters don't seem to have any context for their own existence outside of what they need to be on the page for that moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, where are your parents? Where's everybody else? I don't know. Gone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
One of the Overlander girls is apparently mute, so it makes sense she wouldn't talk, I guess. But
yeah. But sorry, I guess I could have brought that up. But
that's okay.
In terms of what they contribute to the story,
the chat reminded me.
I guess I could have brought that up.
That's okay.
And I mean, I could even say, in terms of those setups, it's kind of, I thought, a bit of a stronger moment for Lupe during these wanderings, kind of showing her, being a bit of a decisive leader, being a compassionate leader. And I could, again, kind of argue, showing a bit of a, more feminine drive or strength or whatever the hell you want to call it.
Sure.
Without feeling pandery, because basically some of the other members of her group are like, ew, they're Overlanders. Rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, no, I'm not listening to you. I'm taking them with me. Screw you guys. I'm doing the right thing.
Right.
And it's like, oh, wow, Lupe's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, she is.
Right.
Which makes what happens in this story all the more infuriating.
Well, that's what I'm getting. I know it's a lot to explain, but
I know.
It's basically so because all they do is basically wander around through places they don't understand or recognize or know. They get trapped in some areas for, I think, a couple weeks or something. And I think that happen to be a necessary time buffer because they leave Mobotropolis, post endgame. The heroes have taken back the city. Everyone's safe and happy and blah, blah, blah. Now, in this story, which is titled Family, Faye and her ragtag band have shown up in the Western Flat, which is this the Great Canyon? Are they flats? Are they canyons? I don't know.
Sort of like the Western Flats, but the Great Canyon. Hold on. No. No, those are 2 competing ideas.
Well, this is what it says, okay? I can only go with what the story's given.
Yeah, pretty much. It's okay.
They came home and her interchangeable sidekicks are immediately like, actually, coming back here might have sucked because it's another bombed out ruined city.
Right.
They left Mobotropolis and they're like, oh, to live here, this place is gross. It doesn't suit us at all.
Right.
And compared, I kind of assumed maybe compared to what they had in Sad AM, they were maybe supposed to be a bit more, down to earth, living with nature type, but it's just another modern city.
Yeah.
I guess. So I am not really sure what exactly their objection was, aside from our people stick to ourselves and our ugly risings and whatever,
Yeah.
and broken rebar and crumbling concrete. So they come back to the horrible, devastated ruins, and it's like, everything's gone and trashed. And it's like, well, maybe our loved ones have left a message somewhere saying they went elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And, Lupe is very adamant that there's no way her husband, Lobo, would have just done nothing. Everyone else is very negative Nancy on it, but no, she's sure something has to be here for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then a missile just fires at them and blows gas in their faces because that's what missiles do, I guess.
Yeah. Right.
So everyone gets knocked out and they wake up somewhere.
This is very confusing. I'm not sure. This feels like there's a page missing between page 2 and 3.
Oh, they come home. Everyone's like, actually, maybe we shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
And Lupe's like, no, it's fine. And then it's not fine.
Right. But then...
And then I guess everyone was knocked out and Lupe was the last to wake up because no one seems to know what's going on until they are confronted by Lupe's family, who have all been roboticized.
Who could have seen that coming?
And she is very understandably upset by this.
Yes.
And oh my God, who could have done this? And Uncle reveals himself for dramatic villain monologue time.
Good old Uncle Chuck. It was me!
Yeah. It was me, Barry.
It was me, Dio. Wait, no.
Yeah. And as Lupe points out that, he was with Sally and Sog last time she saw him because, she left the city and everything was fine at that point.
Right.
So, presumably it took them like 25 issues to get lost and get stuck in a city full of rain and whatever else, trying to find the city that they should know exists.
Right, yeah.
How did they... But anyway, in the time that it took them to get back here, a whole bunch of, pretty much all the Robians and Uncle Chuck and stuff were like recaptured and roboticized and rebrained, and in doing so, I guess Uncle Chuck was just turned into a very generic villain.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why Uncle Chuck of all people, sorry.
Yeah, because it would be shocking to the reader.
Yeah.
Not Uncle Chuck.
Oh my God, not Uncle Chuck. And it's just, yeah, so basically he, threatens and uses her family as coercion to say that, everyone walk into a roboticizer or I'm going to kill your family.
Right.
And so Lupe goes into the roboticizer and gets roboticized and everyone's horrified.
She just does it. Yeah. There's no resistance, nothing.
No.
She just walks in herself.
Because he said he'll dismantle her family if she doesn't do it.
Uh-huh.
Now, then she has this, moment where she does manage to shove all the robots over and start fighting them and yells at everyone to get out. And another moment of brilliant dialogue. I think it's Diablo, with their interchangeable faces or dialogue or coloring, or says, you don't have to tell us twice. And then turns around and says, what about you? We can't just leave you. Like, usually when you say you don't have to tell us twice, you're not hesitating.
Yeah.
You're not.
Yeah, but then he's like, what about you? It's like immediately after. Yeah. It's like, hold on.
You don't stop and question things and reevaluate. Uh-huh. Anyway, Lupe, so she gives them a moment and tries to tell everyone to get away. And then she says it's getting harder to think, and she decides she rather just wants to, all she can think about now is that she just wants to be with her family. And he's like, yeah, okay, that's what you want. And runs off. And amongst another case of a photographed background, there is abruptly a gravestone.
That's true.
For Lupe.
All of a sudden a Lupe gravestone. What? She's dead?
Yep.
Hold on.
Yep.
Roboticization is not final. It's been established that it's not final, but now she's dead.
Two panels later, Lupe's dead.
Lupe died on the way back to her home planet.
To her home canyon on the Western Flat.
So all that time spent following her and the wolf pack to find their home, and this is ultimately what it culminates in?
Yep.
It's like...
She adopted 2 children and is told, comply or I'll kill your family. But like, what is the alternative? Everyone's being roboticized anyway, and they're treating roboticization as death.
Yeah.
So, like, she didn't know that she would have this last moment of willpower. So was she just dooming everybody else?
Yeah, it's so weird.
It's weird. And again, like, we're treating roboticization as fatal, as a one-way thing.
Right. When up to this point, it
so
never had been.
Is Uncle Chuck undead?
Well, maybe. That would make him cooler.
Like, did she see her family and she's like, oh, well, they're dead. What do I care if they're dismantled? Hey, the way, Bunnie, your choices are possibly be de-roboticized, which might happen in the future anyway.
Uh-huh.
But also, Strawbz and Lupe are dead.
Even though they are roboticized, which is not a final thing. You can be de-roboticized. It's like, come on. Wow.
So, I probably don't have to tell you that this story was not that well received.
No. No, I can't imagine why.
Never mind. Again, yeah, all that build up just to a story with very little build up and an extremely abrupt ending in which, a character who, for the few appearances she did have, she was at least somewhat liked.
Right.
Fans. And, no, you're dead.
Yeah, she's just gone.
And, in my opinion, not helping this are the statements of intent story. So, Pen Pender's apparent intentions of the story. This was a story about playing up Lupe's maternal instincts.
Oh, okay.
The maternal instincts where, when your brain is falling apart, all you can think of is must be with family, because I guess that's all your brain does, and all your practicality and stuff goes out the window. So, all the other kids you adopted along the way and the people you're responsible for as a leader and everything out the window. Of
course.
She didn't know she was going to be able to save them. It was important in his eyes because instead of depicting girls being rescued, this story showed that, quote, even a female can make the ultimate sacrifice.
Uh-huh. Even a female.
Even a female.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Because mothers never make sacrifices.
No, of course not.
So this was, he apparently felt this was an opportunity to really make a statement with this character by killing her off.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I'm not saying, you can never have short stories or shocking stories or, sometimes you, as a writer, I would say, sometimes you do. I don't want to say just do something shocking for the sake of shocking, but, sometimes you go for the gut.
Right.
Sometimes you do cut something off with something harsh to make an impact. I don't think this is it, especially when you kind of present this entire issue, girls rule.
Uh-huh.
Let's celebrate the female characters. Girls rule.
Yes.
Anyway, she gave up and now she's dead.
By killing one of them off, yeah.
But it's okay because she was sacrificing herself to save the others, even though she didn't know that was going to work anyway, and did not plan for it to go that way. She was basically, she did it under duress. She was coerced into it, and the end. And as much as we've been kind of harping on the, is roboticization considered death at this point? Ken made it absolutely clear that he considered her gone.
Right.
Like, people were commenting on this or protesting this or upset about this, and he said, well, in our continuity, she's gone. You will, quote, you will never see her or her family again in a de-roboticized state.
Okay.
So yes, this was intent. Now, people who, were longtime readers or kept up with the book or whatever will know that this did not turn out to be the case.
Right.
I mean, it's a comic book. Death tends to be a revolving door anyway.
Right. And this isn't even death.
Roboticization isn't, it has long been established.
Right, yes.
It's not death. But what kind of bugs me with this was, even up to, I think, like, just a few years ago, like maybe like 2018, like just a bit pre-pandemic, I guess, or something. Ken was still saying, no, Pei dead and gone as far as he was concerned.
Right, yeah.
And if Ian had ever deroboticized or revived them, as far as he was concerned, this was like alternate continuity.
Right.
The problem with that is that Carl Ballers had Lupe and her family come back, still roboticized, but, with their free will restored.
Okay, yeah.
Had a big story about, seeking understanding kind of with Uncle Chuck, and Chuck kind of finding forgiveness with himself for what he's done here. And then they were part of the whole big, mass deroboticization thing where every single person who was roboticized and not dead has it undone.
Right.
So, they did show up. And on top of that, Ken himself wrote a story with Lupe and her whole family and the entire pack here, all deroboticized. It was when the whole nanite city thing was introduced. So it's like early, 150s or so, I think.
Okay, yeah.
Once again, they're just wandering aimlessly because I guess he couldn't think of anything else for them to do, but...
why are they there? If he said they were gone, why are they there?
And why is he blaming Ian for breaking the continuity and it doesn't count and blah, 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 and whatever. So, she was already returned to the active cast before Ian was writing.
Right.
Oh, why Uncle Chuck? What was he doing? What was... Oh no, this small band of people was even smaller when they left Metropolis.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to the city? Why is it just Lupe's family? Uncle Chuck was like, "Nyar har har, I will lie in for
I think it's
2
just
weeks."
for the shock factor. It's just supposed to be shocking that he's there. That's probably all the thought that went into it.
I'll roboticize her family in particular because I know they're coming back here, and then we'll just sit around and wait for them to come so we can not even roboticize them while they're unconscious or anything.
Right.
Ambush them, wake them up, and then turn it into some kind of torture party for the lulz.
Of course.
Anyway, that's Lupe. She was supposed to be dead.
Mm-hmm. She wasn't.
Don't you feel inspired?
No. Not in the slightest.
It's funny. It's like a small thing, not really totally relevant, but I do find it a little interesting, is because of the way references were done, or rather not used at this point. I said how a lot of the background characters were sort of just kind of merged,
right,
used off of the character sheets. Well, there's also the fact that at this point, a lot of the artists were basically just using older issues as their reference points and not real full turnarounds or whatever.
Yeah, which means the inconsistencies carry through.
Yeah, it kind of becomes a visual broken telephone thing, right?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
So basically, the 2 lines on Lupe's face are supposed to be a single scar from the cartoon.
Mm-hmm. It looks like she has a mustache.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, she could rock a mustache if she wants.
I'm not going to stop
she
her.
She can do whatever she wants.
I won't stop her, but I'm just saying, that's what it looks like.
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, it was supposed to be a scar under one eye, but, artists didn't know what it was and just kind of figured, it's a weird mark on her face.
Yeah.
And assumed it was parallel on both sides. So how are we feeling about women being celebrated? Do the girls rule?
Apparently not in this book. So far, I'm not really feeling it. I guess I'm not the target audience, but still.
Well, I don't think the target audience is necessarily enjoying this either.
No.
Maybe it's a small thing, and maybe I have the wrong context, but Ken always wrote Diablo's little quirk, I guess, is he speaks Spanish, and he always addresses Lupe as Senorita.
Mm-hmm. Or Bonita later.
Yeah, but I mean, is that really applicable when I guess you're married and have 2 kids? Or 4 kids at this point, but...
I don't know.
Maybe it's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
I just think it's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's a little silly.
I mean, like I said, half the time he and the other guy, they're the same color half the time. They're mixed up half the time. Mm-hmm. When the wolf pack shows up later, everyone colored brown.
Yeah, everyone looks different. It's very inconsistent.
No one...
Oh, well. Well, folks... This episode has gone on for quite a long time, and we've got a lot of this comic left to talk about, so we're going to split this up, but we'll come back. More on the BumbleKast. Thank you, Lee, for joining us here.
I'm sorry it took so long.
It's okay. It's fun to talk about this old stuff.
I don't know. I kept waiting to feel better about it, and it was never going to happen. So here we are.
Here we are.
I guess we can try to do this. I mean, I guess we know this setup works somewhat, except if I am too loud or
Nope, it should be okay.
too annoying or okay.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay.
It's perfectly fine. So we'll do this again. We'll revisit these last 2 stories in the future.
Okay. Click the doomadiddle and hit the buttons and subscribe and send money. Did I do it right?
Yes, that's perfect.
Cool. Awesome.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Remember, be good to yourselves, be good to each other. Go check out BumbleKast.com. And sure, do that, I guess. And we'll see you next time on the BumbleKast. Alrighty, hit all the doomadiddles.
What am I supposed to say? Anything of substance? I'm not here to entertain people.
We'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. Don't worry about it.
You're probably going to have to, edit out so much garbage.
It's okay. I'm used to it. This is what I do.
Did I manage to not, at least swear a ton this time? I tried.
Yeah. You seem pretty clean, for the most part.
I mean, if you want, I can swear more.
I think you let a damn slip. That was it. Oh, no.
Is that not allowed?
No, it's fine. That's the most only one I can really remember.
Serious?
That's the only one I can really remember.
Damn, not here.
Exactly. Anyway.
Rose, on the other hand, did in fact exist.
Wait, hold on. Oh, yeah.
Got a problem?
Oh, you cut out, I think.
Oh, was I gone?
That sentence you said cut out. The last sentence. Something something you said did in fact exist. But that
Amy Rose?
Yeah.
Well, that's a bit funny then.
Yeah.
Did the universe just redact her?
I guess.
I tried to bring up the fact that Amy Rose existed.
Yes.
And my headset said no.
No, apparently.
Shut that crap down.
Go back and say that line again. Just start that sentence over. Yeah, start that sentence over again. I'll edit it so it is not like nothing happened. You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org. Sorry I sound funny.
Yeah, you're weird.
Well, thank you.